today's episode, we are going to be talking about tins. Tins. No. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of Flair Lifestyle. I am your host, Ravi Kamadou, and on today's episode, we are going to be talking about tins. All kinds of tins, powder coated tins, big tins, little tins, non-weighted, weighted tins, cheater tins, Michael Moreni's tins, tins. Shakers. Right, so today's episode we've got a lot to cover. I'm going to try and cover most of the majority of tins that are out there in the Flair world. So let's get started with number one. We're going to talk about mixing tins, Boston glasses to be specific, or cheater tins. Here we go. Let me move this. Let me move these out of the way. I think we should start off with the mixing stuff. So in one hand I have Boston glass, also known as a mixing glass, and a cheater tin, also known as a half tin, or whatever else you want to call it. But today we're going to stick with this. Pros: you pop it down your bathtub, make your cocktail, all the ingredients go inside, see through, so your customer gets to see all the ingredients that's going in there, and it looks really nice. This one, you can't see in it. You don't know what's going on there. As a customer on that side of the bar, you don't know what's going on in the drink. You might not be happy with that. Another pro of these ones is the volume. It's much larger than the cheater tin. You can fit a lot more liquid in here than you can in here. I personally use these a lot when I'm doing events. If I have to bulk batch a few cocktails at once, I can squeeze possibly 3 cocktails worth in here, whereas in here I know I can't get more than 2 cocktails. When you're traveling, this is not easy to throw in your bag. This is. It's smaller though. A downside to one of these is they are made of glass, they're very fragile, and they break much easier than these do. These things are made of metal. If you hit them in the wrong angle, they can shatter. If you're washing them in hot water, then putting ice in them straight away. The hot cold, it can make the glass very fragile, very brittle, and it can explode. I like these. I use these.
This is a firestorm.
Oh, jā, nu tas ir tas, ko neviens negaidīja.
Okay, so now we're getting to the bulk of today's episode. What I really want to talk to you guys is the difference big tin versus little tin. When I say big tin versus little tin, I really mean 30-ounce shakers, much wider top, versus 28-ounce shakers, much smaller top. Thinner versus wider. Alright, so just a couple brands I have in front of me here. These are Michael Moreni's tins. Thanks, Mikey. This is all personal opinion. All shakers are lovely for flair. You just have to learn how to use them. That's it. There's no difference. I have had the pleasure of trying all sorts of shakers out throughout my time flaring. And in front of me, I have a couple shakers. I have a 28-ounce shaker here. This is from the Bars, Italy. And over here, I have a brand new spanking shaker sent to me from Piazza. This is a larger one. There are a few differences you can feel straight away. So the smaller ones are much lighter. Blah, blah, blah. Ow! They are lighter, and for that it means I could do multiple snatches faster, in a faster time. I felt like throwing them, splitting them, it took a bit of getting used to, but in a slightly different way. But once I got used to them, I was super happy, and I was boom, 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 and I was happy flaring away, throwing lots and lots of shakers up in the air. This one over here, it's heavier. Straight away you can feel the difference. So that weighted bottom, obviously, they're both weighted bottoms, but this one is really a weighted bottom. You can feel the difference straight away in that. When you throw a bottle over and you land it in this shaker, you've got to catch it in that shaker. It's 28 ounce, it's not that much space. Versus a 30 ounce, it's wider. You can see it's wider. You feel it when you hold it in your hand, it is wider. And you've got a lot more, you've got a lot more room. You've got a lot more room for error. So when you're throwing a bottle and it goes in here, I really like the light ones for multiple stuff because, like I said, I can do moves faster. It's lighter. It doesn't take so much power away from my arms when I do it. But personally, I like the heavier shakers. I've been using the heavier shakers for a couple of years now, and yeah, I'll show you one of the shakers I use. Brand new one, still in the plastic. Let me take that out. So I actually use these. These are limited edition Roadhouse shakers. I'm going to show that there for you. These come directly from Beaumont. If you guys want to get your hands on some of these, send me a message. So the reason I use these is because I used to have two sets of tins. I used to have a set of tins purely for flair in the practice room, and then a set of tins for working behind the bar. Now, the downside to this is every single day I'm picking up these, I'm doing working flair, I'm practicing with these shakers. But then in the flair room, I'm using a completely different set of shakers, and it's a different feel, it's a different weight. So if I learn a move in there, I won't be able to do it with the heavy, large, wide shakers behind the bar. So it made a lot more sense to me just to use one type of shaker for everything. Because that way I am picking up the same shakers, I'm flaring with the same shakers every day behind the bar, and then when I go on stage, I'm still using those same shakers. Quick story with these. So, what was I talking about? Oh, I've got two of these. I've got three of these. Right, so that being said, that's what I use. What do you use? I'm interested. Tell me down below, leave a comment. Tell me what kind of shakers you use, what kind of shakers you like. Or if you're new in this game and you haven't really found your preference, send me a message. I'm happy to give my advice. I'm happy to help you guys through whatever I can. There's more tins, don't worry, there's more tins. I seem to have a lot more of these broken ones. We've still got more tins to cover, don't worry. Next one we're going to talk about powder coated tins. There's still some blood on this one. As the name powder coated would suggest, they have a special layer put over the top of them which gives them colour. Basically they're all the coloured tins that you see flying around. I got white ones, and purely for the simple fact that you can see them when you throw them in the air and the lighting's not great or it's too dark in there. These are fantastic, and you can ask anyone who maybe works in a nightclub as well. Having brightly coloured tins makes a world of difference. It's fantastic, really. They are great. You can see them in the air. They also have this really unique feel. I actually, you know what? I like them when they're new. After a while, I don't really like them, but that's just my preference. Everyone's different. But the downside, and probably one of the biggest reasons why I stopped using these, is because of the powder coating, they get sticky. They don't get sticky, they get sticky like they get stuck. So, how many times have you had this problem where you can't get the shakers out? You know, and you have to bang it on the floor, you have to smash it with something else, eventually they split. We're everybody. For multiple element, when you're throwing lots of tins, snatches and splits, I'm sorry to say, but these are not the best. I'm not saying it's impossible. Tomek once told me, I asked him, why do you use silver ones? And he said, because you can split them. You can snatch them, split them, snatch them, split them. They don't get stuck. And if they do get stuck, one big hit and usually they come out. Ow, that was my foot. A downside to these is after a while, they don't look so pretty. They get scratched up, they get scuffed. Here you go. Oh, here's one. There's another bit of blood. Many competitions across Asia, one part of the rules say presentable. So if I went on stage and put that up as my bar setup, they would not allow that. That looks ugly. And it's true, it does. It looks ugly, it looks horrible. So if you want to go and show that flair bartending, you want to show the professional side to flair bartending, you don't want to go on stage with something like that. You want to go on stage with something shiny, clean, preferably new looking. Okay, so we're on the final set of tins I have now. We are talking about weighted versus non-weighted tins. That's another Roadhouse one. This is just a broken tin. The weight came off, but now it is essentially a non-weighted shaker. They're not too bad. I've had a play. I've thrown these kind of shakers around quite a bit, usually because I break them. My personal preference is I don't really like these. They're fun to throw around once in a while. If you only have one shaker and one bottle, no problem, it's awesome. But the deal I have with these, well, the issue I have with these is when you're doing multiple elements, having that weight on the bottom gives an anchor. So when you're throwing things, you want them to split in a certain way. So you want things to split and you want them to go in a certain direction. Knowing that that weight there gives it an anchor, it gives it a pivot point to move around. And obviously for me, I've flared with weighted shakers since the beginning of my bartending career. So I know how these feel, I know how these move. These are slightly different. I'm not saying they move differently, they just you have an element of adjustment to get used to this. Personally me, I don't like them. I like having a weight on one end because when I spin it and I flip it, I know when that weight is, I know where that weight feels. With this one, it's just purely about knowing how the shaker spins, but I don't rely on that weight. This being said, you can't knock non-weighted shakers. I will tell you a lovely story here about Alexander Stifanov. We all know who he is.
Oh, nice.
He uses non-weighted shakers. Now, as far as I'm aware, the story is when he began flaring back in somewhere in Russia, the bar he worked in didn't have weighted tins. They had non-weighted ones. And he didn't know any better. He didn't care any better. This is many, many years ago, before people left reviews online. To this day, he still uses those same shakers. He likes the feel of the non-weighted ones. It's his style, it works for the moves he does. I know for a fact he can easily flare with weighted shakers, but he doesn't like to. He has his shakers, he likes his ones. In fact, his shakers are so old that they don't make them anymore. They are from wherever he got them originally in Russia. I know he's searched all over the internet and probably half of his country as well, looking to get more. He's contacted companies about making more, but he can't get them. So funny enough, if you ever get to see him live, have a closer look at his shakers and you'll see that they are like 10 years old tins. They are old. Or if you make shakers in your garage at home, send a message to Stiffer and tell him, hey, you can make him some shakers the way he likes. Doing my bit there, Stiffer, helping everybody out. Okay, if anyone has any questions, leave them down below, send me a message. If you want to get your hands on some of these shakers, awesome. Non-weighted shakers. Okay, I think we've covered a lot. I'm going to leave it there. If anyone has any questions, leave them down below, send me a message, whatever. As always, like, share, comment on this video, favorite it, subscribe to the channel, you know the deal. My name's Ravi, that's been another episode of Flair Lifestyle, and I'll see you guys soon. Yay!